As we round the corner of our virtual walking tour, we look behind us at the Clement Bank building on 89 Merchants Row. Referred to by the youth of 1980s Rutland as the Clock Tower Bank, due to the clock tower's face being similar in style to that of the clock tower in the popular film Back to the Future. It's interesting to note that the fictional clock in the film was built in 1885, while our real-life clock tower was built in 1883. Originally the central house, the Clock Tower Bank has had many different banks inside it over the years. Since 1883, the building served some of the banking needs of Rutland while also watching the life of the town evolve around it. The Clock Tower Bank has seen us in peacetime. It's seen us in wartime. It sat by as we sent our boys off to war, and was there when we gave them a warm welcome home. It even watched when Theodore Roosevelt came to town, drawing a large crowd to Depot Park. One catastrophic event it bore witness to was the horrific downtown fire of 1906. The fire began in the Bates House, the present site of the Mead Building. Once the fire spread to the Combination Cash Store, also on Merchants Row, it was too late. Too late to save that portion of the block, despite the gallant efforts of a combination of fire department, police, our friends, families, and neighbors, all helping one another to tame the destruction. One of the reasons the aftermath looked much like a site after a bomb had been dropped was due in part to the explosive power added to the fire by the barrels of oil and varnish that were located in the Combination Cash Store. The fire leveled 6 business blocks, causing $700,000 in damage. That would roughly be $15 to $20 million in damage today. The Clock Tower Bank has become almost like the eye of downtown, watching the times change, the way we travel, communicate, and what are the current pop culture tastes of the community. Everything evolved around it as the clock tower stood. It's watched an entire community be born, live, love, marry, have children, retire, and die. Only one time in its 131 years of watching generations of us be born and grow up was the clock tower's eye given a short rest. Today, the Clock Tower Bank has various offices and is the home of TD Bank.
My name is Raymond Mooney. I was born in Rutland on May 22nd, 1947 at the Rutland Hospital on Nichols Street. Not to sound sentimental, but I love Rutland all my life. I grew up here. I have good memories of Rutland. I spent my whole life here, my career here, and I will die here. radio. So when I was young, there was no television. At least our family didn't have a TV. My grandmother didn't have a TV. So I listened to the radio a lot. My favorite ones were Sergeant Preston, Archie Andrews. The one that scared me was The Shadow, which I believe came on Sunday evenings around 7. It was dark, I remember, and I would always be scared by the organ music that came on.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
He was kind of a doer of good, and he had an alter ego. He was Lamont Cranston.
There's nothing like an Irishman to chase your cares away. There's nothing like an Irish laugh to brighten up the day. No matter how dark the skies grow, how great or small the pain, it only takes an Irishman to make things right as rain.
Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's
All the way down at the end of the tracks. In those days it was called Sacred Heart of Mary. Name was changed in 1949. This gentleman, I believe, might be William B. Shangra, owner of Shangra's Pharmacy, but I'm not sure. But he's very distinguished looking as he walks across Center Street. And you'll see a nice shot of the hill. This is the Kresge store on Merchants Row. This is now the Green Mountain Innovation Center. Eastman's moved in there at some point in the 1980s. Kresge's was there from 34 until 1961, then they went out of business. And next to them was the Liggett drugstore, so I'm not sure if the staff here is from Liggett's or Kresge's, but they're out there being very friendly for the cameraman.
In one of his interviews in 2008, Fagan, in his late 70s, had said, "I think if I pass over around Halloween time, I will be riding in a casket in the parade. I would be all for that." Unfortunately, Fagan would pass away on October 21st, 2008. While his daughter Deanna said she had not heard that request prior, she did agree that her dad would definitely have been happy about the idea. Friend and fellow co-worker Nick Merrow chuckled while saying, he would have loved that. Knowing Tom, he would have wanted it to be an open casket too, as that was the kind of ghoulish guy he was.
Mac's Diner on West Street at the corner of Cottage Street was owned by Charles Andrews, whose nickname was Mac. In 1935, there's a famous photo of it attached to the Colonial Theater building, later known as the Valenti Block, and it looked like a real greasy spoon, but I bet the food was great. In In 1940, an addition was put on the Valenti block, which forced Max to move across the road. So a new diner was built, and it was attached to the Buick garage, and it was there until 1961. There's a beautiful 1958 color photo of a fire convention parade that shows Mac's Diner and also the Grand Theater. Now, the new addition to the Colonial Building, or Valenti block, was Joe's Diner, operated by a Joe Muscatello. That later became Ruth's, and in the 1950s it became Valenti's Lunch. And on the rear of Valenti's Lunch was the famous carriage room, which was renowned for St. Patrick's Day parties.
In a 1964 article by Tony Merrow in the Rutland Herald about the birth of the modern fire department was this quote: "The end of the block-wrecking fires appears to have come to an end in Rutland." 1973, this quote was shattered when the townhouse burned, claiming 5 lives. Now, this is the former Berwick Hotel, which was undergoing renovations when a fire from an unknown source broke out, and it leveled that building and buildings on either side of it. Help was called from 8 area departments. Chief Goltansky was on the scene from midnight until around 5 in the morning, directing operations with a broken heart as he watched all this property get leveled, along with the tragic loss of life. And the worst Rutland fire since the Bates House in 1906. Ironically, both fires were at each end of downtown Center Street. The last fire that Chief Goltansky was active at was the Fishman Fire on Merchants Row, and that was in August of 1974, ironically during a fire convention. He can be seen directing operations on Merchants Row. And he was brought to Evergreen Cemetery, where he was buried, and where I think maybe he still hears the whistle when it blows.
At the Goltansky Fire Station, this is Ted Pendleton.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind,
And speaking of Santa, the downtown Santa had to be Al Price. I believe Al was hired by the Chamber of Commerce as the downtown Santa for at least 10 or 12 years, but he was the epitome of what Santa Claus should look like. He had his own beard, no fake beard, beautiful suit, the kindest face. He had kind eyes, a pleasant smile, and he made the children just feel at ease. There was no fear of sitting on Santa's lap or Santa's gruff voice, because Al was just everything Santa Claus should be to a child. He's a great downtown Rutland memory that I'm sure many people remember.
He just was so good to me. And then when Susan passed, and he said, "You do what you got to do, and that place will be there for you." And it came to the point where it was 2 years. Lenny, if you want to open, David said to me, we'll help you, everything we could do. But if you don't have it in you, he said, we got to rent this place. And I said, I fully understand. I said, for what I owe you guys, I said, just take the equipment. And David said, that's good karma, Len. Maybe somebody could go in there. It can help a person open a business that doesn't have the money, and they could get a good leg up. And that's what I did. And it warms my heart. We went in there and we took every one of those pictures, the 500 of them, down off the walls, and I got them all stored here in my garage. And every time one of my friends comes by, and people I know, they come by, if their picture was up on the wall, I give it to them, and say, here, a memory of the place. Again, I owe all that there to Giancolas. I can't say enough for what they've done for me in my life. But Rutland in general, it's just the people here have been so kind to me. I'm blessed to live where I live. I'm just blessed to live where I live. And that was that. That was the Big Lenny's. It was only 9 months, really, where I was having a lot of fun. I had some good help. I had Joanne worked. She was a retired school teacher. And Dawn worked with me. They were power. Dawn she knew the food business backwards, forwards, and she grew up in it. And her son Joe, he helped me, and I had a couple of young people working there for me, and different people working and helping me. And I had a good crew. I had a good bunch of people, and I had the most wonderful customers. Loyal customers. And like I said, over the years, I would go down there even by myself after it was closed. I'd walk in there and I'd start to cry. I'd sit there by myself and I'd put the oldies on the sound system, and I'd walk around there and look, and I'd start to cry thinking about, look what I created from nothing. Now I got to walk away from it. But you know what? I'm one of the richest men I know for the friends that I have made over the years. Not monetarily, but for love and friendship. I'm a wealthy man.